All right, so chat windows up.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Free Thought Radio Hour on WOZO Radio 103.9 LP right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Today we're recording this on Sunday, June 19th, 2022. I'm Larry Rhodes, or Doubter5, and as usual, we have our co-host Wombat on the line with us. Hello, Wombat.
Hey, it's me, the Wombat.
Welcome. And our guests today are John Richards from over in London Way. We have Dread Pirate Higgs from Western Canada. Welcome.
Arr.
And Joe Skye, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
You're in Texas?
I
forget. Okay.
am.
Digital Free Thought Radio Hour is a talk radio show about atheism, free thought, rational thought, humanism, and the sciences. And conversely, we'll also talk about religion, religious faith, God, holy books, and superstition. And if you get the feeling you're the only non-believer in your town, well, you're just not. In Knoxville, here in the middle of the Bible Belt, we have a group of over 1,000 of us. And we'll tell you more about that group after the mid-show break. Wombat, what's on our topic today?
Today, we're going to give Christians everything they want for Father's Day. Isn't that fantastic? We're going to go.
Oh, great.
But before we get into it, let's throw it up to our own Dread Pirate Higgs for our weekly invocation.
Our noodly Lord, who art in a colander, al dente be thy noodles, thy blood be rum, thy sauce be yum, with meat as it is with vegetables. Give us this day our garlic bread, and forgive us our cussing, as we forgive those who cuss against us. And lead us not into ketoism, but deliver us some carbs. For thine are the meatballs, and the sauces, and the grog, whenever and ever.
Amen.
Amen. Guys, do you think there might be a schism in the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster based on whether you do this or this? You think there will be like absolute divisions in the future?
The crossed hands are
that's-
blasphemers.
That's the
there's this
monster with his
too.
2 eye stalks. See?
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
The
We
official.
had another. We had another comer in. George Brown, 2.5. Hope you're doing well. Happy Father's Day.
Yep. Welcome.
Oh,
You're
your
on mute.
mic's getting set up, but it's all good. Guys, it's going to be a good show today. I want to talk about Father's Day. We have a lot of fathers on the show. I want to talk about June 19th. That's awesome as well. And then I want to give Christians literally everything they want for the rest of the show. How about that? As Dread, it goes through the many changes of getting his light set up. John Richards, you're a dad and a father to many beautiful children. So, happy about that. I want to ask you, how is family life and what is your plans for Father's Day?
Well, it's wonderful here. I'm a dad times 2 because I've had 2 families. And let me tell you, this will shock you. My oldest son is 49.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's in France.
And the contrast, your youngest child is how much?
The youngest one is 11.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a girl. She's 11. So I have 2 of each, which is
Very cool. Happy Father's Day.
equitable. I think, isn't that sexually equal or something? 2 of each.
Good job.
Yeah,
Parity
yeah,
is
yeah.
what they would
Yeah.
say. Parity.
That's right.
Parity.
Yeah.
And
So
and
so
beautiful intolerance.
I love the role of being a father, a dad. Yeah. So
Good.
yeah, but I do recommend to everyone, to all and sundry, this is my advice: never have children.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't take it myself, but it's still my advice to everyone else.
Yeah, if anything, let their parents raise the kid and then try to marry them, because then you legally own them, right? There's your advice. Don't take children. Just wait until they grow up and then you can marry them, and then they're your possessions. Larry Rhodes, Doubter5.
We
You got kids. How are they doing? What's father life like?
I inherited one when I got married. No, I've never had actual children myself. I've never changed a diaper in my life. So, I took John's advice until, I got married.
You are a dad still either way, because I see
I
how
am.
much
I am.
God
Mhm.
loves you. So-
Very proud father of a lovely young daughter.
Yeah, and fatherhood comes in a lot of different forms, and I respect that as well. And I'm see they give you enough time to play games on your virtual headset and ride your motorcycle. You can't ask for anything better.
Mhm. Nope.
Dread Pirate Higgs, the
Arr.
man of hobbies, and what is the right word for it? Invocations, vocations. That's probably it. The vocations.
Vocations and
How-
invocations.
yeah, you. How's your family? How's your Father's Day going so far?
Well, I mean, it's pretty darn early. My wife isn't even up yet, so
okay.
and
Okay.
she's actually sleeping directly above me, so she will probably be up soon, because well, she doesn't share my passion for this sort of activity. So
What do you do on a Father's Day in Canada? Like, what's the occasion? Do you get like all dressed ruffles, or do you get like bacon? Like, what's the
oh, I'm hoping for bacon. Yeah, every day is a good day with bacon. So a Father's Day with extra bacon is even better.
Fantastic. Can't complain. I love it. George Brown, your mic's working. How you doing?
Is my mic working? Can
Yep.
you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
I'm wearing my Space Alien headphones.
Mhm.
They look great.
Yeah, I got them from the recycling center, being suitably cheap. Um, People are having to replace their headphones because the newer computers don't have jacks on them, which are compatible with existing headphones.
Right.
So, you know, I've been experimenting. I've been experimenting with reducing the bass response of headphones so I can understand people better in Zoom meetings. So I've actually glued foam rubber
Nice.
to
To your
literally let out the bass, and it's actually working.
Oh,
This
very
degree
good.
of experimentation is something that I endorse on this show. So keep signing.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll get to where it's a full face mask and you just have like a visor with like little LED lights on it. And like, these are my headphones. This is what I use to communicate with people through space. Like what you're doing is communicating with people through space. It should look sci-fi.
I'm what do you call it? Recycling stuff, that's supposed to be good for the
Sure.
environment and all that.
Right. Mhm.
And just about everything I'm using at this moment technically is secondhand. Actually.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Skye, love
Yes,
to talk
sir.
to you. Do you have a Father's Day wish or appreciation?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Listen, I can tell you right now.
I have kind of an untraditional family structure, and no, I don't have kids. And my dad is
Okay.
That
Hey,
light behind you is very, very bright.
Yeah,
It's
I'm trying
God.
to figure out if I can adjust that or not. I can't even tell if I'm centering the screen actually.
You're a little off center, but we'll work on the smaller details. Until then, we'll just have the angel on Skye.
It looks like a big spaceship to the side of your
Well, I'm
head.
sure if you moved a little bit to your right, I think you would actually be in a halo. There you go.
Yeah, there
Oh,
you
there
go.
you go.
Man.
That's way better. Way
Now
better.
he went from the angel on his shoulder to just literally being Jesus now.
Yeah.
That's great. Fantastic. Great.
That's the perfect shot for radio.
Yeah.
I was about to say, yeah,
backlight.
good radio.
All right. The last thing is I'm a single guy, but I got a cat. I'm happy with the cat, and I'm very well. So I've had him now for about 6 years. I feel pretty good with our relationship now. And you know what? Like I said, fatherhood in all forms, right? So I'm happy to spend a holiday where I can think about the goodwill that I've imparted on, any animals or other human beings. And it doesn't just have to be family members. It could be good friends. But go out if you know a dad, if you know a single mom, if you know anybody. Wish them happy Father's Day if they got people they're taking care of.
So you're Vinny's dad?
Yeah, I am Vinny's dad. I'm a cat dad. What else can I say? I also go up to the animal shelter. I'll be doing that later today and taking care of some more animals, step kids, step pups and stuff like that.
Well,
Guys, it's also June.
pet parent.
Okay. I didn't quite hear that.
I have a little dog. I have a little dog who just turned 1.
Nice. Good.
And
Powerful.
she is part husky, part chihuahua.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
How did that
Wow.
happen?
I have no idea. We think that the chihuahua probably found the husky sleeping and he just ran up to it.
She's
Surprised her.
part Chihuahua, part Husky, but both their parents are part acrobat. That's how it happened.
There you go.
There you go. It's also June 19th, celebration, Black Lives Matter. Also really happy to just have appreciation on the federal level for, emancipation. So really happy
Yeah.
about that too. But what I
Right.
really want to, the thing
It's
I'm
our
really excited,
Juneteenth show too.
yeah. I'm
Right.
really excited to jump into the topic today. So, how about this? Just as a quick preamble, Christians win. Christianity wins. We know Christians, God
What?
exists. We know it for fact. It's not an ambiguous point. It's not just my opinion anymore. This is the case that the worldview of Christianity actually takes place. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I heard an interesting quote. People tend to see what they want to see, and we suffer the consequences of it. So, what other way can we highlight some concerns we may have if we just wholly take it for granted that the Christian worldview is in fact accurate, existing, and how will that impact society? And how
Give
is it
them the
not
world they
impacting society
want.
yet?
Is that what
Yeah,
you're
give them the
saying?
world they want and see if they actually like it or not. Because I think there may see some questions. So for the rest of this discussion, let's not labor on the point of like which God or like which version of Christianity. Let's just say general Christianity is true, that God already made that self clear. But now what do we need in society? Now, when we look back in society and we do a little accounting, do we still need a space program? Do we still need funeral homes? Like, how do we treat each other now that we know that the Christian worldview is accurate? And I want to throw out some examples. So one, and this is stemming off of something that Larry likes to say, is that death is now officially just a change of address, right? And if that is the case, and it's just, he's just moving from one place to another place, wouldn't that mean that now funerals no longer have to be like these sad affairs? You can actually be celebrating. It's like, oh, thank goodness. She got in a car crash. Great. Linda's now finally in heaven. And we can check that up. And it's like, great. We don't have to worry about her. Just clean up the car trash. You can throw away the body. It's not a big deal. It's like all good. And the family will see her in heaven too. If they make it through judgment, whatever, we'll get the text message. Everything's fine. What is death anymore? Like, death is not a bad thing. That could be an amazing good thing. What do you think? What do you guys think about that?
Well, why wouldn't we all just be lemmings and jump off the cliff and get our way up there right away?
Catholicism still applies. You have to wait until you actually have like a terminal illness, or just don't take your medicine if you are in fact sick or something like that, and then let it happen naturally. What do you think? I see you then, George.
You still need an invitation.
John Richards, what do you think?
Well, I'm well prepared actually, because some time ago I bought the domain afterlife.cloud. So
okay,
I've already got the address to move to.
So John Richards at afterlife.
Exactly.
And you're there.
Yeah. So all mail can be forwarded to his address. So if there's any afterlife sort of things he has to figure out, because ghosts are real now too.
Now,
right?
if you start getting responses, you got a problem.
Sure. I do like that. George, you had a comment. What's up?
I said that coming from a Jewish background, I feel like I've walked into this place where the lunatics are running the asylum. We're the guys who got caught in the crossfire during the Crusades.
Yeah, it's a late movie twist now, where the same asylum was actually the right people all along.
So the world is like Arkham Asylum.
Yes, kind of. It's like Batman's the only crazy one here. So you hit on a good point, Dred. Why don't we all just become lemmings? It's like, well, you have to still wait until it's your time. You have to get the invitation. So if you get sick, you may be worthwhile not taking medicine. If you need a life-changing surgery, that could actually be criminal if a surgeon wants to do that on you.
But by extension, not taking treatment is in fact surrendering or giving up your life, right? Like, wouldn't it be sort of a passive suicide? I think to not do the surgery or not take the medicine because
it's God's will who made me sick in the first place.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep getting sick until I die, because when I die, I go to heaven. Yeah. Like, who am I to take medicine when I'm sick? It was God's will who made me sick. I can pray to God and be like, yeah, I made you sick. It's like, I'm not going to mess with this. I'll either be saved by God's grace or I won't be. And if I die, it's just a change of address. Why? In fact, we should go another level and say anyone who goes out of their way to sell medicine should be a criminal law, because that's going against the will of God. If you have cancer and you're curable cancer and it's cured, that should be criminalized. What do you think, John Richards? And then we'll go back to George.
Well, I'm thinking that abortion would actually be desirable.
Abortion would be desirable at that point, wouldn't it? That and capital punishment, right?
That's the
Like,
best thing. The best thing you could do for your egg.
Yes, is like prematurely have it. Oh man, that went dark really fast. But yeah, George Brown, what do you think?
Well, the good Lord made this bottle of pills that I'm holding in my hand, and the good Lord made atheists. So there.
Sure.
I have some
But
good
that
news,
would
guys.
still be outlawed in the new nation.
I think it would be outlawed in the new nation too. One, you can't be an atheist. Two, put away that medicine. Is that medicine? Put it away. That's God's business.
Well,
now,
there
right?
are already Christian sects that practice that. It's what is it? Christian Science.
Yeah.
They don't allow certain medical treatments and transfusions and things.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Jehovah's Witnesses are that way
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, there's
Jehovah's
no blood
Witnesses.
transfusions and
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses. Yep.
But only today I had a conversation with my former sister-in-law, who is very much a Christian. And it was along the lines of God gave the surgeons their brains and their skills to perform these operations. So it's a bit of a vague area now, isn't it?
No, I actually think it's way more. So it's vague if you don't have access to a God that can tell you what he did and what he didn't do. But in a Christian worldview, you can always pray to a God who will answer your prayers, and you can figure out if he actually made you sick or not. And if the intention is, I made you sick, can I have a cure? No, you wouldn't even ask for it because you know you can go to heaven if you die. So like, why would you even waste time on medicine? It's just like, this sucks. I got a sprained ankle. Dang it. I wish it was a gun wound to my heart. I wish I could die and go to heaven right now. Why am I wasting time with this discomfort?
We've just put all health workers out of a job.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't need them.
We don't need them. It's way better to be in heaven anyway. Right? What do you think, Dred?
I was just going to say, sports teams would, no one would ever win a game because all the players for either side are praying for God to intervene. So either he's picking sides or he's not all love.
Right. Yeah, hockey sports, that's going to be an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Because if both teams
all
are praying
professional
for them to
sports players are out of work.
There'd also be no wars because, of course, he can't be on both. I'm confused.
Yes.
Why are you confused, John? Talk to me.
God is always on both sides of every war.
Or at least claim to be, right?
Yeah.
Now there's just a clear, if anything God is good at, it's choosing one group against another group. So we'll just make it very clear which group is the winning group.
But surely war is desirable too, because they're just all going to go to heaven, aren't they? It's a sort of shortcut to the rapture.
It is.
And wouldn't this be the case that once it was determined which side was being favored, that the other side would just throw down their arms and give up?
Why not? So
I mean,
in my sense,
they can't win.
We're thinking about this in the context where death is a bad thing or harm is a bad thing, when in fact, in a Christian worldview, these are good things because it gets you closer to the fast track to going to heaven. So you have to I know we have atheist brains in this call, but you have to completely flip the foundation of what's bad and good, because it is good to cause harm. It is good to die because it gets you the fast track to ultimate internal paradise. And when that's the case, now we're living in a society where we all have basically our social rules completely broken. And we have this worldview where it is actually kind of a good idea to unintentionally die or passively commit suicide.
Yeah.
So that you get to that heaven.
We're going to let all the murderers out of prison to carry on with their good work.
If they pray to God, Jesus, and get forgiveness, then yes, absolutely. Because that only increases my chances of going to heaven.
Kill me now.
Kill me now. You can wear a shirt that says it. You could say it, but you can't actually do it. So it's just like,
put a big target on your chest.
Exactly. Isn't that great, Larry? Where
I just wondering what would happen in a nation like that if everybody acted like Andrea Yates did.
What
Want
if
to give
she
the context to that story?
Yeah.
Well, she was, a real fundamentalist Christian. She had several children, and she was so afraid that if they grew up, that they would they were in danger of going to hell. I'll put it that way. So one afternoon, she took them all one by one to the bathroom and drowned them,
Right.
so that she would guarantee that they would go to heaven, because her church preached that young children, when they die, go to heaven.
Right.
Right. She was willing to take the punishment so that her children go to heaven.
Mhm.
And
No, because all she could do is ask for forgiveness and be forgiven, right?
Right.
Oh, hey, you found the loophole.
She's got
Greg.
the out.
Well,
It is a crazy worldview to be in. So let me tell you something. We got dark so fast. I should have started on funeral last. But here's some good things. Some silver
good
linings to
things?
this new worldview. Yeah. Funerals, in my opinion, should be celebrations to an extent of a person's life. Well, yes, they are sad. It is sad to see someone go. And I think it is healthy to recognize that. But I feel like religion has infiltrated the funeral process so much that there isn't really the time to grieve on the loss. But if you were to also turn that into a celebration of a person's life, it might be more cathartic in a way. And I think if we truly accept that death is just a change of address, we can take those same pleasantries and turn them into more of a celebratory affair. And I feel like there are some even really famous atheists who've done the similar thing, where they have taken opportunities for, when I die, don't come around here and just be sad and wear black. Have a potluck. Let's celebrate some of the papers that I published, or like some of the,
Which is more like the tradition of the wake.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
They've been doing it right in Ireland for a long time.
Yes. And
Mhm.
infamously.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think that's right. We should celebrate the person's life and not get all tied up on the fact that they're dead and moved on wherever. They did live. They had life. They had loved ones. They had friends. Celebrate it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One
if
thing you
really
see a
do-
lot more of?
if you want to do a
is-
good job, celebrate it while they're still alive.
Yeah. I see this on our highways here in BC anyway, where accidents happen where a person has died. There's now a shrine where they died,
Yes.
in addition to the one that would be at whatever gravesite that they're at. But you'd see a lot more of those, because anywhere anybody died would all of a sudden be
Yes.
the place to mark with the appropriate icon.
Joy.
Uh-huh.
Now, so here's my flip on the idea. I'm just going to linger on this idea a little bit more. So right now, death is sort of a big thing, and it's big because it's finality, right? But when you take that finality away from death, would we still enshrine sites where people die? Would we still put little pieces of stone where people are buried? Because now we know death is just this transitory thing. Why celebrate it? Why acknowledge it whatsoever? If anything, I'd be envious of people who are going to heaven, because that makes me feel like
because it becomes the portal. It's the portal from which they left to the better place. So it's enshrining the portal.
So it'd be recognized as a portal.
And some religious
Like
sects,
Stargate.
Christian sects believe that you don't really go to heaven until the rapture. You don't go when you die, you go when you're
You just
raptured.
get stored?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. John Richards.
Just think of it as the graduation ceremony.
This degree means nothing. It's like it would if you did it in science. Speaking of which, we could probably talk about science later on. But John, Skye, did you have a comment? I think I saw you raise your hand.
Well, I wanted to give you all some good news. The Pope Frank has decreed that good atheists go to heaven. So
Okay.
we're in. So just be good and you get to go. Although
Sure.
I don't know, sitting around.
Hold
with a
it,
bunch of
hold it.
Christians-
I don't want to go. Do you mind?
Sitting around with a bunch of Christians for eternity, the selling point they think it
I
Save
want
it
to
for
go
your
where the
email
cool.
address.
I want to
Yeah,
go where
yeah,
the cool
yeah.
cats are.
Don't send me where the grammar Nazis are going. Let me have some fun, please, for crying out loud. Though, listen, we know that there are ghosts in the Bible, right? So that would mean ghosts are in play. And I like John Richard's idea of having an email address, because that means we could actually get emails from heaven for people who are already having a good time. And you can just be like, hey, Linda, I know you got that car crash. Are you in heaven now? She's like, yeah. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to a really terrible concert because there's no cool people here. So it's
Mhm.
just kazoos and people blowing in grass reeds. I hope there's good music here in the future. Kill some rock stars for us.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, this sucks. Okay. Dread Pirate, you made a good comment. I want to touch on it. You said the healthcare industry workers would basically be out of a job. And John Richards, you made the similar point too. I don't think they'd be the only ones. I actually think we'd have an entire court system that would go completely absolved, because we wouldn't need a court system when we have the absolute law being given to us by God. And so like someone robbed the bank and prayed for forgiveness for it and got it and confirmed got it. How can we persecute that person or criminalize that person to any extent?
Right? In that case, we would have had left Dahmer out of prison when he accepted Christ.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one good thing is there would be no lawyers.
I love the silver lining.
What we're doing here is substituting pastors for murderers. They become the new useful agents of God.
The new clergy.
Yeah.
You know what though? In the weirdest sense, that hasn't really changed much in the annals of history. But I would say this: court cases would change to two different things. One, we would have instantly half as many, because the rule would be, if you're a woman, just listen to the closest man nearby you, right? And then the second one would be, okay, well, if you do go to court, if you pray for forgiveness, you can't criminalize it. I mean, I've already got forgiveness from God.
You're absolved.
I'm absolved. I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing, and everything should be fine. Again, the goal is get to heaven as soon as you can. George Brown, second and a half. What do you think?
I think that being the Jewish atheist in the room, a doubly damned, double outsider, I still feel like I'm in the loony bin, where the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
Help me, guys.
I also feel like
I need it.
Here's an analogy for you, George. Just take your snakes and ladders board, turn it upside down. So we all want to go up a snake, and we don't want to fall down a ladder.
I also want to throw out, we got 5 minutes before the break. I want to throw out one more thought model for you. Construction industries would also go to the wayside, because everyone would be able to move mountains with their faith. So you wouldn't need Caterpillar making giant tractors. You wouldn't need people building streets. You just need people in hard hats praying.
Well, no, I take exception
Talk
to
to me.
Just changing America to a Christian nation would not make miracles happen.
Yes, it would. That's the worldview of miracles do exist. That's what I'm.
Well, that's a worldview, but I mean, we had a worldview like that during the Dark Ages, and mountains didn't move when you prayed for them to.
Larry,
he means that the worldview is true.
Yes, that's what I'm
not
saying.
That it's just a worldview. It's true.
We're saying this is the case, but this is what the world looks like now. It's not a paradise, is it? Right?
Yeah.
And so, if anything, if you like being if you want to grow up to be a construction guy, get good at praying, because that's how everyone's going to be moving mass. If you want to move water, you pray, and you can make oceans split.
What is chaos? What chaos? Let's say that, I mean, you don't like your neighbor, you pray for his grass to dry or something. Well, he doesn't like you, so he prays for your house to catch fire. The whole world would just be in chaos.
But
I mean,
if it gets you closer to going to heaven, it's all good.
It's a good thing,
because this world is chaos. This world is doomed to die.
Well,
that's
like
why
I say, children, would be killed by their parents so that they'd automatically go to heaven and wouldn't, stand a chance of going to hell.
Yeah.
Dread, what do you got?
I was going to say too that there'd likely be a lot more claims of virgin birth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think celibacy
of course,
and teen pregnancy would go up dramatically high, both at the same rate. I think God would be like, oh, they're not having enough babies. Let me just start making babies. Boom, 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 boom. You're pregnant. And by the way, you can't have sex.
And we're at the bottom of the hour.
It puts the condom, it puts the contraceptive industry out of.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it doesn't
Boom.
exist.
Yeah. Love it. You don't need it. Anyway,
we got to go for a break at this point. Stay tuned for the second half of the Digital Free Thought Radio Hour on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LPFM here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll be right back after this short break. Hello, and welcome back to the second half of the Digital Free Thought Radio Hour. I'm Doubter 5, and we're on WOZO Radio 103.9 LPFM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. let's take just a moment to talk about the Atheist Society of Knoxville. ASK was founded in 2002. We're in our 20th year, have over 1,000 members, and we have weekly in-person meetings at Knoxville's Old City at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria. Look for us inside at the high top tables, usually the loudest and happiest group, unless it's pretty. Then we'll be out on the deck. Look around for us. We also have Tuesday. Oh, that's every Tuesday evening, by the way. Starts around 5:30. We also have Tuesday evening Zoom meetings. If you'd like to join us, email us at askanatheist@knoxvilleatheist.org or at letschatse@gmail.com. You can find ASK on Facebook, meetup.com, or go to their website at knoxvilleatheist.org, or just Google Knoxville Atheist. It's just that simple. By the way, if you don't live in Knoxville, you can still go to Meetup and search for an atheist group in your town. Don't find one? Start one. Wombat, where do you want to pick up?
I'm gonna Doubter 5, I'm gonna stick a needle in here real quick. I'm just saying it's a fact now that the Christian worldview is correct. It's fact. We gave it to them. They won. It's done. But you would think you'd wake up the next day if you're a Christian and see nothing but paradise if the Christian worldview was in fact the case for everybody. But what we're realizing is that it would be utter chaos in a sense. And if anything, if you had any sort of meaningful vocation, it may not even exist anymore, just due to the fact that all of our principles have now swapped from concerning the wellness or the well-being of people to what can I do to get to heaven as soon as I possibly can? Because this world sucks and paradise is just one bad incident away. John Richards or Dread, Doubter 5.
Okay. No, I was just going to recap for people who may have just come in. We're talking about not only the Christian worldview in power, but Christianity per se is actually true.
Yes.
All of it.
Yeah.
So we're following that down the rabbit hole.
And also, listen, the weirdest things you've been telling me so far is like, okay, so my neighbor can pray that my lawn can be destroyed. Okay, fine, whatever. Destroy my lawn. Okay, so what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone might murder me because they got out of jail because they prayed to God to forgive them. It's like, okay, so what? If he kills me, I go to heaven. So what's the problem? This is nothing but upside. Let's let this happen. John Richards.
Yeah, well, exactly. You've hit it on the head, because disasters would become attractions, and we would it would be like a pilgrimage to rush towards a volcano.
Right. There's a tsunami happening in Japan. Let me get my tickets right now.
Yes.
Oh man.
And
So many
and the disaster movies, they would become like rom-coms.
Yes, yeah. They'd be romance movies. They'd just be like, I can't wait to get on this place where the comet's going to smash us to smithereens. Yes. Dread Pirate, what do you think?
You could never get insurance against an act of God.
No.
Well, which is already the case.
Insurance in the first place.
Which is already the case, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess insurance industry's out too. Larry Rhodes, what do you think?
Well, I was just thinking that if all of it was true, I mean, if praying got you whatever you prayed for, it would be like everybody in the world having their own magic lamp and Aladdin, genie, because anything you prayed for, I mean, you'd never have to go to work, you'd never have to go to jail, there would be no jails and no schools, you just wish for what you wanted. I mean, everything in the world would just be chaos, total chaos.
I have a problem with that, because you wouldn't want anything here, you would want to go to heaven, in my head. And from my point of view, if I was that Christian mindset, I don't want a new fancy car, I want to go to heaven. So why am I sitting here praying for someone?
Why would anybody live past the age of knowledge then? I mean, like 7, as soon as you pass that level and you can go to heaven, boom, pray to go to heaven. And you're gone.
It.
You don't even have to die.
Pray to go to heaven and you're gone. Well, if someone offs you, you still have to wait for some sort of crazy thing, because it's God's will that you made.
Well, you can say, I don't know while I'm still alive. I'm up there, gone.
You can't pray to go to heaven. You have to, the path to heaven is through a camel going through the eye of a needle. It's going to be harder than that. You just can't be, God, give me to heaven, and you start going crazy.
But didn't Jesus say whatever you pray for, you will get?
John Richards, you want to step in here? Is there anything that you want to comment on?
Well, I was going to bring up a news item because, of course, George is the Jew in the room.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
secular Jew in the room, and he was mentioning how abortions were now legal in our new world, which is pertinent.
I did.
Didn't you? Sorry, my memory.
No. I said we get caught in the crossfire all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, in this new world where Christianity is the thing,
Yes.
they would be desirable. No, not desirable. I confused myself now. Down in Florida,
It's chaos. It's chaos.
Abortion would be a truly compassionate thing you could do if you were finding out that you're pregnant, because it's the fast track to send the baby to heaven, and then you
Yes,
can meet with
that's
them in heaven, and then it's totally good. Then you're in heaven with your baby. It's all
well,
good.
down in Florida, a bit further south from where George is, the state has adopted a very strict anti-abortion law, but the Jews down there are objecting to it because in the Jewish religion, abortion is not only permissible but desirable in certain circumstances. So at the moment, we have a conflict between the Jews and the Christians of Florida.
Sure.
Well, that's really funny because there's so many Jewish people from New York City who've moved to Florida.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I'll
And
throw this
probably
out.
some Canadians too to get out of that cold weather. You know,
We would solve the problem with other religions, if anything, because there wouldn't need sheiks would realize, oh, that's the being. Okay, well, we're gonna have to figure out something to do with all these turbans. We're gonna
Or rags.
Yeah, or whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. The fezzes, I don't know if that's a religion as well, but like they would have to figure out a way to put them all. Pastafarians would have to be like, dang it, but I still like pasta. Like it would be there wouldn't be atheists anymore because atheists would know that a God exists. It's like, right? But whether they choose to worship is their own bag of potatoes after that. But still, you have the situation where there is a God, it's made himself known, Christianity won. But you still have these problems. And I feel like one of the most saddest things for me is that scientific progress becomes absolutely meaningless, or if anything, taken away.
Yeah.
Why would we care about a model that tries to discover how the universe works when now there's a fast line connector to the creator of the universe who will or will not tell you?
Well,
What do you think?
we go back to that state where, all things are just made of goop.
Yeah,
Right?
it's all magical.
Because there's no need to, dissect anything or examine anything. You just take it for what it is because it was created that way, and that's just the way it is.
George.
well, I have an aside here. I'd like to do a reality check with you guys. A couple of years ago, I had major surgery at a Baptist hospital. And does this present a paradox or not in terms of respect for science? Let me ask you, Christian, or you guys who came from Christian origins, to give me a reality check on this. I mean, I thought the treatment I got at this hospital and the surgery itself was pretty good. So I'm very confused because I thought these folks don't believe in science. So
we live in a
put it
world where
together for me.
cognitive dissonance is both
Yes.
existing and profitable. And
Right.
so, if they were Baptist scientists who only prayed for people, that hospital wouldn't exist anymore. So they have to learn the science from secular principles and then apply it in the religious tapestry to be appealing to other Baptists. What do you think, Larry?
Well, yeah, I think that in a rational world that would be true, but we still live in a rational world. Given the premise that we have during this show, I mean, everybody's looking over one particular item. Satan would be real, and he'd be out there messing with people.
Okay.
I mean, and he's
Hold
a
on.
supernatural being, almost as strong as God in his power.
Here's my thing. I feel 10 out of 10 times Satan always gets a bad rap. This is going to be terrible. I know it's going to be clipped, but in my head, God is the thug. God is the bully. God is the one who's like, this is the fastest.
Yeah.
This is the terrible person.
Yeah.
Satan every single time is like, hey, let me give you some access to knowledge. Hey, let me tell you, this guy isn't in your best interest. Oh,
Right.
you don't want to do a miracle for me? I respect that. I'm going to take your consent and I'm just going to leave you alone. There's so many weird stories where Satan is going in and incidentally helping people or going against God's terrible plan for how reality is constructed.
You
And I
sound
feel like if he was around, go for it.
You sound like someone who's read the Bible.
I feel like most Satanists sound like people who actually read the Bible. It's like, if you read this book, tell me who the good guy is and who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can just give me a short list. And I'm like, the
Right.
guy who's drowning babies on chapter 1 is the bad guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one who's giving dietary advice to nudists is probably telling some good stuff. It's like, you should probably eat some more apples. I think it's good for you. It's like, yes, I agree.
I got another thought.
right.
Because
Go ahead, John.
if, as Dredd said, everything is made of goop, what does that make Gwyneth Paltrow?
I guess that puts her out of business, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Though,
she might be the new Mother Mary.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
Is
almost literally, right? Just pushing goop out of her.
from what
Yeah.
from what the Pope said, is Madeleine Murray O'Hare in heaven, and do I want to be there with her?
yeah, does it retroactively take effect? That's what
I mean,
we have
because
to figure out.
I understand she had a wretchedly horrible temperament. So even though she was an atheist, I don't think I want to be up in heaven with her.
Well, just avoid her. But there are a lot of other reasons not to be
There are a lot of
wanna be
streets
there.
paved with gold.
Right.
Well, Bertrand Russell's there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not everyone who's going to heaven.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
if the Pope
should be
is correct,
thoughtful.
all the atheists have been going to heaven. So
Well,
you'd have a lot of friends there.
As long as we're doing good
We're so
work.
blessed.
But
What's
the
this
Bible
guy?
says in Revelation 20:12, the Bible says that everyone will be judged by their works. So if you're a halfway decent person, you're probably in.
I think the most startling recognition that I realize is John's comment in that if there is a world disaster that we know is impending or coming to us, we would all migrate there as soon as we possibly can. And I
Be
think
the
we'd
Hajj.
have more access ways to get there now, because now anyone, if they have enough faith, can walk on water. And I imagine if they have a comparable faith, they could probably drive on water too. What would stop them? It's like, if I can walk on water, I should be able to drive on water too. So it's like, where's the comet? Where's the big earthquake coming? Where's the fissure? Where's the fault break? Where's the pandemic?
Well, you know, and with
Let me get
natural disasters that you could pray for, there'd be no need for nuclear weapons. That's a good thing.
Mhm. Right.
Why would that be a good thing? You want to be hit by a nuclear weapon. Dread.
No, but there would be
You're-
no need for it because you
Because
can
you
simply
could
pray for
pray for-
natural disasters to
yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
Like,
Ah,
for God
I
to
get it.
smite your enemies, not
Mhm.
Yeah.
needing to build expensive scientific based weapons.
I get it.
Yeah.
So honestly, if there is the Christian worldview, basically this world is trash. Get out of it, burn it down as soon as you possibly can. Get everybody who would be burned, send them to heaven. Get all those souls, send them to heaven. Get all the people who can't kill themselves and figure out a way to kill them so that way they can go to heaven, and have them kill you so you can go to heaven. Basically, when the Christian worldview is true, and that's fact, cross out everything that we know in reality and find the closest way to get to death and take yourself out. It would be chaos, as Larry, you're bringing it up, but it's also sort of like a startling reality when you realize that everyone has access to this super powerful being who can wish destruction on each other, but you don't have to worry about it, because if you get destroyed, you get to go to heaven. So like, what's the problem? It's just this terrible, it's this worldview that people want to happen. Christians wake up every day hoping that the Christian worldview is a reality and that it takes place, but they don't realize the implications of a society where we are inherently selfish, and we look at what we can do to benefit us at the end of the day. And if you give us this insane upsell of an eternal paradise where we can all be happy with each other forever and ever, why spend an extra day on Earth if we have to? Let's get nuclear weapons. Let's get natural disasters happening. And let's get there as soon as we possibly can. It is telling that we don't have a society that looks like that. And it's also telling that we still have Christians who are, you know, in my opinion, as they should be, empathetic and sad when there's funerals, who want to have surgeries when they're ill, who want to protect their kids, you know, for the most part, and value family and the time that we have here. That in my head is telling of a society that is looking for higher aspirations than what the Christian narrative is selling them. And I think that's what we should try to be knowledgeable about whenever someone tries to sell us the Christian worldview. It's just like, you don't know what you're buying. That's basically my 3 steps. Anyone other comments? John Richards, what do you think?
Oh, well, you've just said everything I would have said.
I did like no shortage of salt. Just contact Lot's wife or your nearest wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reversal of everything we know, isn't it? So we're turning black into white and white into black. It's just peculiar.
The Christian worldview really devalues human life. I think this would all be a bad thing. Or, what reason to live could you possibly have? We'd all be nihilists. We'd be happy nihilists, but we'd be nihilists.
Right. It's the fast track to self-destruction and nihilism, in the happiest, most insane way possible. It'd be a horror movie. It'd be basically, what's that movie where everyone's allowed to kill everybody for like a weekend or something like that?
Oh yeah.
I forget.
It's like some weird.
It would be that, but the religious version of it for like until there's one last human being left, and that's just like the last atheist or Pastafarian in the world, and just like, oh wow, that sucked.
Yeah.
All right. So any other final thoughts on this before we go to
I'm just wondering what would happen to crosses, because would there be more of them? Would we, because it's become real now?
Sure.
Well, that's what I was saying. They'd be kind of like portals,
Yeah, they'd spring
like
up
wherever somebody
everywhere.
died, you could just stick one there, and that's the portal they went through.
Yeah, I like it.
Man.
All right. So we're going to go into the listener comments now. We have a comment from last week's episode, which was Surgeon General warning for the Bible. Dada's Trading Room has made a comment that said, Dread, this was directed to you, buddy. Maybe your issue is with the word distinctive in head covering. You need to invent something much more distinctive religiously than just a pirate tricorn, but a noodly turban.
Well, he's already got a noodly beard.
If I can find a milliner that's willing to put one together for me, I'd be happy to.
You'd be happy for. So here's my thought: you start with a full-on turban, get the driver's license photo. You go there again, and this time it's a turban with like some sort of like texture of like the Pastafarian noodles on it, and then it just slowly becomes more and more of just a bag of pasta on your head, and then you have to eventually put a colander around that thing, and then be like, then the government steps in and is like, hey, you can't put a colander on that head full of pasta. It's like, why? What condition were you okay with a head full of pasta that now when I put a colander on top of it, you're like, that's the proper place. That's the proper thing to put in colanders. What are you doing?
It's funny you should say that, because that's precisely how I've been working this. So ICBC allows for women to wear a headband, right? As long as it's above the hairline and it's non-obstructing. So I wore one, and it had the symbol on it, and they refused. They said, well, if you flip it over, we'll take your picture. And I said, well, it doesn't make any sense. Are you objecting to my symbol, or are you objecting to my headgear? And then I took it off, and I had a temporary tattoo on my forehead with the symbol, and they took my picture. And I currently have my healthcare card with my picture with my symbol on it. So it's demonstrating just the arbitrariness of their policy and the application of it. So yeah, we're working on it.
Okay. I was going to suggest that, with modern cameras, you can take 4 or 5 frames as one sort of short movie. And what we could do is have you morph from, tricorn to pasta head, and use that as your passport photo.
There you go. Yeah. So when you in kind of a 3D thing, so that whichever angle you kind of twist it to, it's like
I just want to see where it's arbitrarily stopped on the government level. It's like, okay, you can have penne, but you can't have rigatoni as the pasta on your shirt. Like right. that crosses the line. It's like, you guys are so silly.
But I want to be lasagna head.
Caddy May asks in our show on generalization, what do you think of the concept between alphas and betas? Is that also generalization? And she's referring to most likely the term alpha, which is like a sort of a character type of a person who's distinguishing themselves as like a leader, but also unconcerned with the opinions of people beneath them to an extent. Whereas beta tends to be more of a follower, but also deeply empathetic. What do you guys think of these two concepts?
I think
I'll
it's
throw it
too
out.
rigid. Too rigid.
I
Well,
would
as
agree.
an alpha, I agree.
I think so. Not to throw too much science into this, but I think the terms came from some guy who was doing a research expose on social structures within wolves and within wolf society, and they realized, oh, here's the alpha wolf and here's the beta wolves, right? But then he came out with that term and it became very popularized. But afterwards, he realized, oh, this is not accurate whatsoever. The betas have just as much meaningful impact as the alphas do. And they are, in fact, it's completely
And quite
disambiguated.
often, the
Yeah,
betas
there'd
will
be
take
none
the
of the
place
former
of the
without the
alpha.
latter.
Yeah.
Well, the trouble with that piece of research was that it was conducted in an enclosed environment.
Yes.
It was a zoo or something, and
Yeah.
they don't behave like that in the wild.
Right. So he tried to undo it, but it became such of a popular cultural thing to
Right.
be an alpha
Mhm.
wolf that
Meme.
the meme has lived on despite the science trying to
Yes.
reverse it.
Right.
And a lot
Yeah.
of things in science tend to be that way,
Yes.
or in pop culture tend to be that way. What do you
Yeah.
think, George Brown?
Well, I think that in the spirit of the first part of our show today, the meek shall inherit the earth.
Good. I like it. I hope so.
Yeah.
Another one. Can you prove a point with science? Asked the loose cannon on an episode called "A Puddle." Oh, hold up. Let me get the full title. A puddle shaped just for me. Can you prove a point with science? Most likely,
No.
we made a comment probably in the show saying, "Well, I think science proves this point," which means someone now asked this question. So, roundtable, John Richards, can you prove a point with science?
No, science doesn't
I
do
have-
proof.
So
Science-
my argument would be, if you have very well-defined terms, you can, but the things that you can prove tend to be so empirical that it has no real virtue in like a real life setting. So like I can prove 3 is 3.
No.
I
I
can
disagree,
do
because
proofs. What do you think?
Science makes use of inductive reasoning, and the whole point of
Mhm.
inductive reasoning is that we don't have a full data set. So we can never
Right.
be certain about anything, and proof requires absoluteness. So that doesn't exist in science.
I'll
Everything-
throw this out. Counter
everything-
throw out. There
everything
are
is-
proofs in science to build up cases for something up to a standard of evidence. And if
Ah.
the original claim is so low, what is it, mundane, that you can come up with a proof that establishes that in my head.
what you can
That's
use,
my thought.
you can
Well,
use-
you can build on the body of evidence to support a claim.
And if it's mundane enough, I can meet that standard of evidence. That's what I'm saying.
what you're talking about there is hypothesizing. And of course, you can use logic, which is provable. If deductive logic, I suppose, is provable, but you can use any rational thinking you like when you're hypothesizing or when you're designing an investigation. But the outcome is never proven, because
The impact on objective reality is not proved.
well,
But
the
it's
only
just
way
the
the
go ahead.
only
I like this
yeah.
conversation.
the only way anything could ever be fully 100% proven as certain would be at the end of time.
Are we there yet?
No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Larry, what do you think?
Well, I think, can you prove a point with science? It depends on the point that you're trying to prove. I mean, if somebody brought in a rock and said, this rock is radioactive. Oh, he's making a point. Well, with science, you've got Geiger counters, you got other things that you can use to measure the radioactivity of that rock. And with science, you can prove that it's radioactive or not. I mean, it depends on what you want to prove, and the body of evidence to support it.
Like, I like the philosophy aspect of not being absolutely certain about anything. I really, truly do. But I also feel like some claims are some mundane, like that radioactive rock, that you can come up with tests that objectively demonstrate that to be the case. Whether that rock has feelings or sentience, I don't have a thing to measure that. So I would say that's an ambiguous point I can't prove. But if I can even just make it even more simple and be like, that rock is that rock, that is absolutely the case. That's A equals A. That's like one of the logical absolutes. Like, it's so mundane, it's a tautology, and that can be easily demonstrated to be true. And I think points like that can be proven with science. That's what I'm saying.
We need to wrap up if we can.
Oh, it's wrapping up time, guys.
Yeah.
Christians, you won, but the world is destroyed. It's terrible.
Total chaos.
Yeah, we prefer this world better. Sorry, guys. Maybe better luck next time. John Richards, where can we find your stuff at?
I'm on Free Thought Channel. And
Nice.
yesterday I had a fantastic chat with a geologist who specializes in earthquakes. Please watch it. You'll love it. We had a good fun time to talk. Her name is Wendy Bowen, but her handle is Dr. Wendy Rocks.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Skye, is there anything you recommend we check out before next week?
On Facebook, I have the page, the Novothedian Chronicles. On Sunday, there's always Bible contradictions get posted. And then I have the Humans for a Kinder World group. It's not too late to join the kindness revolution.
Nice.
There are
I love it.
250,000 people on Facebook that belong to kindness groups. So I'm not the only hippie in the room.
Did you
I
say
dig it.
kindness or communists?
Kindness.
Kindness.
Oh, kindness.
Kindness
Thank you.
revolution. I love it. Also,
And then-
good dog dad. We support that. John Richards or George, is there anything that you would recommend that we check out before next week?
I never can remember until after the program.
Fair enough. I want you to become more scientific in your look and shtick by next episode. Let's put a visor on that thing.
I think
Dread Pirate Higgs, anything that you
H.
recommend we check out?
Sure. Yeah.
H on his
I'm-
forehead.
Yeah.
I get it. I get the reference. I get the reference.
Yeah, so I live stream on my YouTube channel, Mind Pirate, MINDPYRATE at 8 a.m. or no, 7 a.m. Sorry, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And I just wanted to mention that Data's Trading Room had been on live here with me, and one of the things he pointed out was that for intercessory prayer to work for everyone, we would have to live in that infinite worlds cosmology, where there's infinite universes for everything to come true. So
I got a lot of problems with those.
Of course.
Is that the same thing as imprecatory prayer?
Intercessory, yeah.
Yeah.
Intercessory, imprecatory prayer. Is that the same thing, or is that something else?
No, I've never heard of that other word you said.
I think imprecatory prayer is where you pray for bad things to happen to somebody else.
But I do
Well,
think
it would be the same as intercessory then.
I
Because
do
you're
think it's
asking God to
consistent that
intervene.
if you want the world to end and you're a god, all you have to do is present yourself and let everybody know that you're the right god to worship, because it will immediately fall into complete catastrophe in about 24 hours. I can almost guarantee that. That's how you do it.
But is that in human hours or God hours?
Yeah. We're in God hours right now. It's happening. Larry Rhodes, feel free to take us out.
Yes, my content can be found at digitalfreethought.com. Be sure to click on the blog button. There you'll find our radio show archives, atheist songs, and many articles on the subject. My YouTube channel can be found by searching for Doubter 5 or Digital Free Thought Radio. And I have a book on atheism on Amazon.com called Atheism, What's It All About? You can find this show on Apple iTunes, Pocket Casts, Amazon, and other podcasts. Just search for Digital Free Thought Radio Hour. Thanks for joining us. And remember, everybody is going to somebody else's hell. The time to worry about it is when they prove that heavens and hells and souls are real. Until then, don't sweat it. Enjoy your life, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, everybody.
Bye,
Putting
Bye,
a,
everybody.
putting a silver stake into the heart of this show.